Welcome to all of you. My name is Joginder Tomar. I am your friend and instructor. So today we will discuss about a very important and interesting topic. The topic name is Network Load Balancer. So let us understand the purpose and advantage of the Network Load Balancer with the help of a scenario. So in this scenario we have taken one Network Load Balancer and we have two EC2 instances which are the servers, which are the web servers. So network load balancer, we can say it's a component which is balancing the load which is coming from the internet among the servers which are included inside the target group. So let us understand what is target group. So target group is a logical group which is combining the servers, or the servers are called as targets. So let's say we have two EC2 instances or two web servers. Number one is web server 1 and web server 2. So these are the two web servers. These two web servers technically we can call as targets. So we have target 1 and target 2. So web server 1 is target 1 and web server 2 we are assuming as target 2. So as we said that what is target group? So target group is a logical group which is a combination of multiple targets which are getting the load distributed by the network load balancer. So let's say we have the 60 users. So 60 users are sending the request for accessing the web page or website through the internet. So this is the internet. So via internet the request is coming to the network load balancer. So network load balancer will distribute the load equally on the targets which are included inside the target group. So target group is the logical group which is combining the multiple web servers or targets for dividing the load equally among the servers inside the target group. So let's say we have the web server 1 and the web server 2. These are the two servers. So these two servers, if we added inside the target group, then the load will be equally divided among the web server 1 and the web server 2. So we have web server 1 as a target 1 and we have another web server that is web server 2 as another target. So both the targets or both the web servers are included or combined or inside the one logical group that will be called as target group. So we need to assign any name to the target group. We can assign like test group or NLB group. So it doesn't mean that if I have given the name NLB group, then you also have to assign the same name. You can assign a different name. So remember always, the load will be equally distribute among only that servers which are included as a target inside the target group. We can have the multiple servers. Let's say we have server 3, server 4 also. So we have server 3 and the server 4, but these server 3 and the server 4 we have not included inside the target group. So the load will not be distributed among the server 3 and the server 4. So whatever the load, whatever the traffic which are coming from through the internet or from the internet, it will goes to the network load balancer, and the network load balancer will take a wise decision for equally dividing or distributing the load among all the targets or the web servers which are included inside the target group. Again I am repeating the same word, the load only will be distributed among only that servers which are that servers or the targets which are the part of the target group. So the load will not be distributed on that servers which are not a part of the target group. So these two servers will be excluded from the target group. So that's why the load which is coming from the 60 users will not be distributed among the server 3 and the server 4. So 60 users request will be equally divided on the web server 1, like 30 users request will be handled by the server 1, and remaining 30 users request will be handled by the server 2. Alright, so it doesn't mean that once we added the web server 1 and the web server 2 as a member of the target group, then we cannot further add more servers. We can further add more servers if we require in future. So let's say if we require in future to add the server 1, server 3 and the server 4 also, then we can add the server 4 and the server 3 also as a member of the target group. So now the server 3 and server 4 are also become a part of the target group. So load will also be distributed among the server 3 and the server 4 also. Before, in the previous scenario, we excluded the server 3 and the server 4 from the target group, but once we add the server 3 and the server 4 as the member of the target group, then the load will be distributed among the web server 1, web server 2, server 3 and the server 4 equally, right? So it means to say that the total number of requests are coming from the internet or the public address, that is the 60 users. So 60 users request will be equally distributed among the 4 servers, because just now in the new scenario we added the server 3 and the server 4 as the members of the target group. So all the servers or the members which are added inside the target group will be called as targets. So hence we can say that we have 3 targets. Server 1 is the first target, server 2 is the second target, and the server 3 is the third target, server 4 is the fourth target. So we have four targets inside the target group. So we can say that whatever the number of servers or the targets included inside the target group, the load will be distributed only among that servers. Those servers which are not a part of the target group, which are not the members of the target group, the traffic or the load which is coming from the internet will not get distributed among that servers which are not a part of the target group. So I hope so you understood this concept very much clear. So in this scenario we added further server 3 and the server 4 also as a member of the target group. So in this time, what will be the ratio of division of load among all the four servers? So we can say that 15 15 15 15. So it will be divided equally in the ratio of the 15 15 15 50. How we can write it? 15 15 15 and 15. So you can see here the first server, which is the web server 1 or the target 1, will handle the load of the 50 users request, and the second server will handle the load of the 15 users request, and the third server will handle the load of the 15 users. Then the fourth server will also handle the 15 users request. So 15 15 15 15 equal to 60. So I said the network load balancer will divide the load which is coming from the internet equally among the targets. So we have four number of targets which are included inside the target groups. So that's why the 60 users request or the load will be equally divided among the four servers in the ratio of the 50 each. So now let's go to the portal and perform a lab demonstration. So we need to go to the web browser. In the web browser screen we need to type www.aws.amazon.com. So now we are on the portal. So in order to get login inside the portal, we need to click on sign into the console option. So click on sign in to the console option. So we are getting login. Now we logged in successfully inside the AWS Amazon web portal. So it did not ask me the credentials. Why it did not ask me the credentials? Because my credentials are already saved as cookies in the web browser. So now we can see here the region I have selected, which is Mumbai. So it is always recommended that choose the region which is very nearest to your location. So my nearest location is Mumbai, so that's why I have chosen Mumbai. So the benefit of choosing the nearest region to your place or location is the bandwidth. The bandwidth you will get high bandwidth. So if your location is India, but you have chosen the region Mumbai region which is located in USA, so the bandwidth might be delay. So you will get the more latency for accessing the resources from the far location or the region which is very far located from your actual location. So that's why The reason is that you have to select the nearest region, geographical region. So now further click on the services on the top, click on EC2, as you can see here inside the Mumbai region, under the running instances we have 0 instances are running because we don't have any instance running inside the Mumbai region. So click on running instances. So we have not yet created any instance before inside the Mumbai region, so that's why the running instances are showing 0. So now we are going to create 2 EC2 instances. So that 2 EC2 instances we will use for the testing purpose as the target. One we will create as a web server 1, and second EC2 instance we will create as a web server 2. So both of the EC2 instances or the web servers will be considered as a target, and logically we will combine or include both of the EC2 instances inside the one logical target group. Now click on launch instance. Now we will select the image of the operating system through which we will create EC2 instance. So we will select here Microsoft Windows Server Base. So it is a free tier eligible image. So with the help of this image we will create one new EC2 instance, which is the web server 1. So click on select. So we are redirected towards the step number 2. So click on next. So before clicking on next, I would like to tell you about that what is the purpose of the step number 2. The purpose of the step number 2, it will give you an option to select the combination of the virtual hardware resources through which we will create the new EC2 instance. So for the testing purpose we need to select free tier eligible only, that is T2 micro, because apart from the T2 micro or the free tier eligible, we will select any other combination of the virtual hardware, then it will cost us. So AWS will charge us. So hence we are in the learning platform, so that's why we need to select always free tier eligible virtual hardware, or we need to select the free tier eligible combination of the virtual hardware. So in this free tier eligible virtual hardware we are getting the one virtual CPU, 1 gigs of RAM, and EBS storage. So EBS stands for elastic block storage. The purpose of the EBS storage is to store the operating system, install the operating system inside. So EBS storage kind of instances we use only inside the EC2 instances. So now click on next. So here we are on the step number 3. So here we will select the default VPC because we have not created any VPC for our scenario. So we will select the default VPC. So under the subnet, click on it. So select 1A. So 1A will be the availability zone. So availability zones are the data centers which are located inside the region. So in the Mumbai region we have 3 availability zones. So 3 availability zones means the 3 data centers are located inside the Mumbai region. So these 3 data centers are separate geographical locations but inside the Mumbai regions, right? So 1A, 1B and 1C, these are the 3 data centers. So these 3 data centers are separate from each other, and these are located far from each other. So if something wrong will be happen with the data center 1 or the availability zone 1, then it will not affect the another data center, because another data center is far from the availability zone 1A. So I hope so you understood what is the purpose and what is the availability zone, what is the region, and how many why the data center 1 or the availability zone 1 will be separate from the other availability zones. So now click on next. So we have no need to change anything here in the step number 4. Step number 4 is asking for adding the storage. So by default we have one storage which is having the 30 gigs of RAM. So if you want to add one more extra storage, so for that purpose we need to click on add new volume. But right now our requirement is not to add the new storage, so that's why we will leave as it is. Now click on next. So now click on add tag. So here we need to assign the name of the EC2 instance. So under the key type name, under the value type the name of the EC2 instance which you want to assign for the EC2 instance. So I will assign here web server 1. So I think so this name is suitable as per my purpose, as per my demonstration. So click on next. So here you can see the RDP type of protocol is already selected. So under the source click on anywhere. So let's click on add rule, and here we need to select HTTP. So HTTP, why we are selecting HTTP? Because we are going to configure this EC2 instance as a web server. So web server means we have to publish a website inside this web server, and the website we can access only with the help of the protocol like HTTP and the HTTPS. So that's why we are adding the HTTP protocol here. So my question is from you, can we access the website or the web portal without the HTTP or the HTTPS? Tell me, just guess it. If you are thinking that we can access with the help of the HTTP and the HTTPS only, so your guess is correct. Your answer is right. So now under the source click on anywhere. Now click on review and launch, and one more protocol we can add. So all ICMP-IPv4. So under the source click anywhere. Now click on review and launch. So one more thing I would like to share with you. So I have chosen one protocol with the name which is with the name HTTP. So we can add one more protocol which is with the name HTTPS. So HTTPS generally we will use in such a kind of circumstances if we have applied the certificate on the web portal or the website. But right now this is our testing environment, so we will not apply any kind of digital certificate, because the digital certificate is the payable. We need to pay some of the amount for buying the digital certificate, and digital certificate will provide the security and encryption for the communication in between the web server and the web client. So whatever the communication will be happen in between the web client and the web server, it will be encrypted. So there will be no chances for the hacker or the cracker to steal the information from the communication which is happening in between the web server and the web client. So here we will use only for our lab demonstration HTTP only. So click on review and launch. So click on launch. So here it is asking to choose an existing key pair. So this key pair will be required to decrypt the password or to generate a password. If you will not decrypt the password, if you will not create this key, then what will happen? You cannot get login inside the EC2 instance. So be careful that store your key in a location where you can find it easily. So I already created one key pair, so that's why I will choose the first one option, choose an existing key pair. But if you have not created any key pair before, then you have to select create a new key pair. So I will choose the first option because I already have a key. So I will choose the name of the key, which is web server key. So click on I acknowledge checkbox, click on launch instances. So scroll down a bit, click on view instances. So this we done about the web server 1. So now the web server 1 installation or the deployment is in process. So we have to wait for some moment until the instance state will be converged into 2x2 green. So let's move on to create the next EC2 instance. So for that purpose, click on launch instance. Why we are creating the second EC2 instance? The reason is that because the network load balancer in our testing or the demonstration environment will load the balance on the web server 1 and the web server 2. So that's why we are creating the second one also. So here we will choose Microsoft Windows Server 2016 base. So click on select. So click on next here, and this time you will choose the South 1B. So last time we had chosen 1A availability zone. So this time we are choosing availability zone 1B. So it means to say that the web server 2 we are going to place inside the 1B data center, and the web server 1 or the EC2 instance 1 we already placed inside the first data center or the 1A data center. So now click on next. So we will not modify anything in the storage, step number 4. Now click on next. So here under the key type name, under the value type web server 2, web server 2. Now click on next. So click on add rule, and here we need to select HTTP, select HTTPS also. We will not use here in our demonstration HTTPS because we don't have the digital certificate. So we will use HTTP. So here we can use all ICMP IPv4. So under the source, select anywhere for all the protocols. Now click on review and launch. Click on launch. So select choose an existing key pair. So I will select the key pair file with the name web server key, so which I have created before. So this web server key file I have created before. So check mark, I acknowledge. Now click on launch instances. Scroll down a bit. Now click on view instances. So now you can see web server 2, this is the EC2 instance 2, the deployment is in process, and for the web server 1 the deployment has been completed successfully and it is showing the status check 2 by 2 green. So let us take the RDP connection of the web server 1, because our now next step is to install the web service role or the IIS role inside the web server 1. So let's check what is the public IP address, because without the public IP address on our local computer we cannot take the RDP connection of the EC2 instances. So we copied the public IP address of the web server 1 EC2 instance. Now go to run and type mstsc. So mstsc is a shortcut command to take the RDP console. So it will display the remote desktop console. So click on OK. So here you can see remote desktop connection console is showing. So just paste the public IP address just now we copied before. So the key I have used to paste the public IP address here, Control plus V. Now click on connect. Now it is asking to enter my credentials. So for the username I will enter administrator, and password I don't know the password. For generating the password or decrypting the password I need to click on connect. Click on get password, click on choose file. So here, so what was the file I associated with this EC2 instance? So I associated a web server key.pem file. If you remember, this is a file. So select this file, click on open, click on decrypt password. Wow, now you can see here the password has been decrypted. So copy this password, go to the console again and paste this password. Now click on OK, click on yes. Now let us check the status of the web server 2 and verify whether it is deployed successfully or not. Yes, it is deployed successfully. The installation has been completed because we can see the status here, status check, it is showing 2 by 2 checks, it is green. So now let's take the RDP connection for the web server 2 also. So copy the public IP address, go to run, type mstsc, click OK, paste the public IP address just now we copied from the web server 2. Now click on connect. It is asking to enter the credentials. So In the username we need to type administrator, and the password, we don't know the password, so for the password purpose, for decrypting the password, click on connect, click on get password, click on decrypt password. So here the password has been decrypted successfully. So now copy the password and close it. Now go to the console and paste this password. Click on OK. Yes. So we successfully took the RDP control of the web server 2 also. Now let's go to the web server 1. So we are inside the web server 1. You can see the public IP address it is showing here 13.233.95.157, and let us go to the portal and check it. What is the public IP address? 13.233.95.157. so you can see the public IP address here. So now let's go to the portal. So we need to go to the server manager. From the server manager we have to install IIS web service role. So now go to server manager. For going to server manager, what we need to do, we need to click on server manager here. So we need to click on add roles and features. So it is asking to wait, so that's why if I am clicking on add roles and features, it is showing server manager is collecting inventory data. The wizard will be available after the data collection finishes. So let's wait till that time. Now click on add roles and features. So add roles and features wizard has been started. Now click on next, next again, next, and here under the roles we can find a role with the name web server IIS. Now click on add features, click on next, 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 install. So the same sequence of the steps we need to perform for the web server 2 EC2 instance also. So let's go to the EC2 instance 2 or the web server 2. So here also we need to go to the server manager. Click on server manager. Now click on add roles and features. So here the same thing, server manager is collecting inventory data. The wizard will be available after data collection finishes. So till that time we need to wait a moment. Now click on add roles and features. So the wizard has been started. Now click on next, next, next. Under the roles, we need to select the role which is with the name web server IIS. Add features. Now click on next, 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 install. So let it be installed. Till that time, let's move on to the server 1. So you can see here the installation of IIS web service role has been completed successfully. So now close it, close the server manager wizard, add roles and features wizard, we closed. So now what we need to do, we need to go to the file explorer. So inside the file explorer, go to the C drive. So here we can get a folder or the directory with the name inetpub. So remember always, the inetpub folder or the directory will be available only after the installation of the IIS web service role. So it will not be available without the installation of the IIS web service role. So double click on inetpub. Under the inetpub, we will get another subsidiary folder which is with the name www.root. Double click on it. So here we have some unnecessary files. Select all the files and delete it permanently. So here is the location actually where we will place our website, our new website. So right click on it, click on new, click on text document. So double click on the notepad. So here we will write or type here, this is my web server 1. So now click on file and save as. So under the save as type, click on all files and file name mention here web, or we can say it as index.html. Now click on save and close this notepad. So now you can see here a file with the name index has been created. Index.html has been created. The type you can see here against the in front of the index file, the type is HTML document. So now the website has been created successfully. So now here it is showing the name of the website with the name index.html. So go to tools now. So this website we need to publish on the web server. So web server is IIS. So IIS manager is a console through which we can publish our website on the web server. So click on Internet Information Services Manager. So now we are inside the Internet Information Services Manager. So expand the option. Now expand the sites. So here we can see default website. So right click on default website, click on remove, click on yes. So default website has been removed successfully because we need to add on our own created website or the web page. So right click on sites, click on add website, and inside the site name we need to type here index.html. So index.html is the web page or the website which is created by us just now before. So here under the physical path, now click on the ellipsis. So here we need to browse the location of the file index.html or the website location. So here the location is inside the C drive. We have inetpub folder. Inside the inetpub folder we have www roots. So just select the www root folder in which our index.html web page is located. Now click on OK. So under the IP address, select the IP address just now we have assigned. Click on OK. Click on directory browsing. Click on enable. So guys, this step is very important. If you miss any of one of the step which we are going to perform which we just now performed, so the web page or the website will not get published. So don't forget to perform this step. So under the directory browsing, under the action, we need to click on enable. So now double click on index.html, double click on directory browsing. I'm sorry, we have already done this step. Now click on default document and click on add. So here we need to add the name of the index.html. So whatever will be the name of the web page or the website just now we have created, we need to mention exactly the same name and the same spelling. We don't require to there is no chances, there is no scope that if we will change the spelling. So we need to mention exactly the same spelling which you have given while creating the website, which is index.html. So here click on it OK. The specified file already exists in the default document list. So here it is showing the specified file. So we will click on OK and click on cancel, and index.html which is created here, we can delete this one or remove this one. We will create our own. So we will assign our own. Now click on add and type index.html. Now click on OK, and now you can see here index.html. In front of the index.html, under the entry type, it is showing local. Okay, we are on the right track. So now double click on the sites and right click on index.html, click on set website defaults. So it is showing us the website defaults option, set website defaults dialog box. We have no need to modify anything. Click on OK. So now let's do the testing of this website in this local server. For that purpose, right click on index.html, click on website, click on browse. So we will verify whether this website is opening or not. So this website will be open inside the web browser screen. So we have only right now Internet Explorer web browser, so we need to check the Internet Explorer. So here it is asking some information, so click on ask me later. Wow, so we are getting the good result. So we can see here the website has been published successfully. So that's why it is giving us the message on the website, this is web server 1. So we are on the right track and right direction. So now the similar task and the similar activities we need to perform on the web server 2. So let's check what is the scenario, what is the status of the web server 2 or the EC2 instance 2. So now click on the EC2 instance 2 or the web server 2. So as you can see here, the role web server role or the IIS role is not installed, so maybe due to some problems. So click on close and try to install it again. It happens sometimes. If you are trying to install any role, in the first attempt it is not installing, maybe in the second attempt if you try to install, it will get installed. So you need to try, sometime you need to try twice or the 3 times or the 4 times. So one time it will be definitely installed, right? So click on add roles and feature. If still you are not getting the positive response, if you are trying to install any kind of any role, then you can restart the computer or the restart the EC2 instance. It is 99% the problem will be resolved automatically by the restart of the EC2 instance or any computer. So now click on next, click on next again, now click on next, and here we need to select the web server IIS. Click on next, 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 install. I hope so this time it should be installed. So let's go to the file explorer and let's verify inetpub file has been created or not inside the C drive. So we are on the C drive. So here we can see inetpub folder has been created. So you remember that inetpub is the folder which will be created automatically after the installation of the IIS or the web server role. So click on inetpub, double click on www root, and these are the unwanted unnecessary files. Just remove these files permanently and go to notepad and try to create a website. So here this time in the web server 2, right now we will type here web server, this is server 2 message. Now click on save as, and here we need to type a name, index.html. now click on save. So I did a mistake, so I need to click on all files as the save as type. Now I need to type it here, index. Now index.html. now click on save. So click on file, click on exit. Now you can see here the icon of the index file has been changed. Now it is showing the icon as Internet Explorer. So that's why we can verify here that we have created our web page or the website, because the icon is showing the different icon. It is showing the icon of the Internet Explorer. So here the type, it is also showing HTML document. So now we need to publish this website in the web server 2. For that purpose, click on tools, click on Internet Information Service Manager. So right now we are inside the Internet Information Service Manager. So expand the sites, remove the default website, right click on it on the default website. Now click on remove, click on yes, right click on sites, click on add website. So here we need to mention the name of our own self-created website, which is index.html. Now browse the physical path location of the file where the file is located. So expand the C. Inside the C we have inetpub folder. Inside the inetpub folder we have www root. Now select the www root. Now click on OK, and inside the IP address we need to select the IP address. Now click on OK. So we are done almost. Now double click on directory browsing. As I told you before, while publishing the website or the web page on the IIS service management console in the web server 1, that directory browsing, here we need to click on enable. If you will forget to enable this option, if you forget to enable the directory browsing, then it will be difficult, it will be a problem, then the problem will be arise, we cannot access the website. So click on enable. So we enabled successfully. Now double click on index.html. Now click on default document, double click on it. So here we can see index.html the file is already existing. So remove this one, because two files with the same name cannot be placed in a same location. So we need to remove the previous one if you want to place the new file with us which is with the same name of the old one. So now right click on, now we need to click on add and type it here, index.html. So here whatever will be the name of the website, we need to type it here. Now click on OK. What happened? So it is saying that index.html, it's still there. Now remove this one. Yes. Now click on add. Click on OK. So you can see here the name of the file which we entered here. Under the entry type it is showing local. So now double click on sites. So right click on index.html, click on set website defaults. So no need to modify or change anything inside this dialog box. Now click on OK. So we are done. So let's do the testing on the local web server 1. So right click on the index.html file or the web page, click on web, manage website. Now click on browse. So now you can see here it is displaying this is server 2. It means we successfully has been published our web portal or the website inside the web server. Our web server role is IIS. Just now we installed and we successfully published a website inside this web server. So that's why it is showing this is server 2. So now we are done with the creation of the two EC2 instances or the two targets on which the load will get balanced by the load balancer. So till now what we have done, if you'll open another paintbrush screen, so till now we have created web server 1 or the target 1 and the target 2. So we have created till now target 1 and target 2. So here the second EC2 instance is the web server 2. So this is also a target. So now our next task is to create a load balancer and target group in which we will add both of the targets. So if you remember that I said in the previous at the start of the session, in the start of the session I told you the load will get balanced only on that servers equally which are the member of the target group. The servers which are not a member of the target group, the load will not get balanced over that servers, right? So till now we have performed the exercise of or the task of creating the two EC2 instances or two targets. So now we are moving towards the creation of the load balancer or the network load balancer. So these are the load, this is the load balancer icon. So this is our next task, and another task parallelly we will perform. We will create a target group. So we need to add both of the EC2 instances, that is EC2 instance 1 which is the web server 1 target and the web server 2 target inside the same target group on the basis of the IP addresses. Let's say we have an IP address here 10.0.0.4 and this server have an IP address 10.0.0.5. So on the basis of the IP addresses 10.0.0.4, 10.0.0.5, so we will join the membership under the target group. So then this target group will get located inside the load balancer. This is the network load balancer. So network load balancer is not here in the AWS Amazon Cloud hardware component. So network load balancer here is a software component. So in our checklist we can verify this one is done, this one is done. Now we are going to perform this task. So let's go to the portal. So we are inside the portal. So here in the portal we can see inside the EC2 we have if you'll scroll down a bit, we will see the target groups option is available here. If we double click on the target groups or single click on the target groups, what will happen, what it will show right now? You can see here the target group is now empty because we have not yet been created a target group. So now let's click on load balancers. So here we can see the load balancer is also empty because we have not yet been created any kind of load balancer. So we need to create a network load balancer. For that purpose, click on create load balancer. So during the creation of the load balancer also, the target group will be automatically get created. The target group will automatically get created while the creation of the network load balancer. So here we are following the steps. So click on create load balancer, and here we can see application load balancer, we have another load balancer, we have network load balancer. So the third one is the classic load balancer. So classic load balancer we are not going to use, it's an old version. So it is better to use the application load balancer or the network load balancer. In our last session we have already done with the application load balancer, and we already performed the lab exercise. We already did the lab of the application load balancer also in our last session. So if you did not see or watched my application load balancer session, you can watch it. You can go to my channel, which is geniusbrainsacademy.com, Genius Brains Academy channel, and you can see the playlist. Inside the playlist you can see a name application load balancer. You can pick up the topic of the application load balancer and you can learn it if you did not watch my previous video. So now we will focus on the network load balancer. So click on create. So here mention the name or assign the name of the load balancer, network load balancer. I will assign here NLB. So here internet facing is already selected, so leave as it is. And under the availability zone, under the VPC is default VPC has been selected, and availability zone we need to choose check mark in which our EC2 instances are located. So I will check mark here 1A and 1B, and here we can see here. Now click on next, click on next, and here on the step number 3 we are redirected on the step number 3. So here it is asking to create a new target group. So mention the name of the target group. So I will assign a name here randomly, NLB group. It doesn't mean if I have assigned the NLB group name, you can give a different name also. It's up to your wish. Whatever the name you wish to assign, you can assign a different name also. So here in the last session you remember we selected instance. Now this time we will select IP. So that's it. Now click on next. So here NLB group is the name of the target group. Just now we have given in the bracket, it is showing target group. So it is getting very clear. Now here under the network we will leave as it is. Now IP, so under the network we can choose it here other private IP address, and here we need to select the availability zone 1A, and IP address we don't know the IP address. If you want to know the IP address, you need to go to the EC2 instance. So I will go to the another tab of the same browser screen. I will type AWS Amazon.com. So why I chosen the another tab of the same browser? Because I don't want to lose the step number 4, because if I will click on services, if I will click on EC2 instance, what will happen? So I will skip the step. so it's okay. So what we will do, so we can go again to the EC2 instance, and here we are. So scroll down a bit under the new EC2 experience. So here we can see load balancing. Under the heading of the load balancing, click on load balancers. Click on create load balancer. Click on create network load balancer. Enter the name of the load balancer. I will mention here NLB. So internet facing, it is an internet facing because it will handle the traffic which will come from the internet. So that's why it is showing internet facing. So leave as it is. So here in the availability zone, we need to select the two zones in which our EC2 instances or the virtual machines are located, which is 1A and 1B. So here you can say it is a 1A, 1B. So these are the two data centers or availability zones. Click on next. Next, enter the name of the target group. You can assign any name. I will assign the name here NLB group. So here instead of choosing the instance, I need to choose IP. So here now click on next. So here under the network, click on other private IP address. So under the availability zone, choose 1A, data center 1A or availability zone 1A. Now we need to enter the IP address of the EC2 instance 1 or the web server 1. So click on the another tab and click on type www.aws.amazon.com in order to go to the AWS portal. Click on sign into the console. Click on EC2. Now what you can do, click on running instances, and you can see here the running instances is showing two EC2 instances because just now we created two new EC2 instances. One is the web server 1, another one is the web server 2. Now click on it. So let us see what is the private IP address of the web server 1. So you can see here the private IP address is 172.31.46.108. Just copy this private IP address which is for the web server 1 and go there on the another tab and paste the IP address. Now click on add to list. So you can see here on the basis of the IP address the EC2 instance has been added. Now we will add like the same way the second EC2 instance. So we will select 1B or the availability zone 1B because my second EC2 instance or the web server 2 is located inside the availability zone 1B. So let's go to the another tab and let's see what is the private IP address of the web server 2. So here we can see the private IP address of the web server 2 is 172.31.6.215 and just copy it and now I will paste it. Click on add to list. So you can verify here the both of the EC2 instances, web server 1, web server 2, in the two different availability zones, but the region is same, Mumbai has been added. Now click on next, and you can review the summary, whatever the steps we have performed before. Now click on create. Very good. Now it is showing a green status, successfully created load balancer. Click on close. So now it is showing the status as the state as provisioning. So we need to wait a moment until the state will be changed as active. So till that time, let's go to the target groups and let's try to understand something more about the target groups. So we are on the target group window or the target group option screen. So here before I shown you that inside the target group there was no entry, there was nothing, but after the creation of the load balancer, after performing the steps regarding the creation of the new load balancer, as a part of the step, the target group has also been created here with the name NLB group. So here click on targets. If you can see in the targets, the status of both of the EC2 instances on the basis of the IP address, it is showing initial. So we need to wait till that time, wait until the time it will be converged as healthy. So let's wait until the status will be changed as healthy for both of the web servers or EC2 instances. So let's refresh it once. Click on targets. So you can see here the status of both of the EC2 instances are still initially it is showing. So let's wait more. Now you can verify from here under the status, it is showing healthy for both of the EC2 instances which are located inside the different availability zones or data centers. And let's move on towards the load balancers option and let's check whether it is showing active or not. Yes, we can see here the status of the load balancer. Now it is showing active. Before it was showing provisioning. So this is good. We are done with the load balancers. We have successfully created the load balancer, created and configured the load balancer, and let's now we will do the testing. So for that purpose we need to go to the under the description and we need to select the DNS name, DNS address. So this is the DNS name or address. Here we will copy the DNS address. It is copied. So now let's go to the another tab of the same browser, or you can go to the another browser and paste it. Press enter. Wow, so it is showing the message, this is server 2. So we can understand that the load is now directed towards the redirected towards the server 2. So if you'll refresh, then what will happen, after some moment, after some time, the load will goes to the server 1, then it will show this is server 1. So we have to wait a moment, right? So our practical lab exercise has been done successfully or completed successfully. So I hope so that today's video was very informative to all of you. Thank you for watching my video. If you want my new latest upcoming videos in future, then don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel. Click on like icon, share it and press the bell icon also. So thanks once again.